Oh, well, hello there, you beautiful human, and welcome to your yoga practice. I am Andrea Dawn, and today's practice is all about self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-expression. So let's get started, and then we'll talk about all of those things as we make our way through the practice. We'll start in a comfortable seat with the ears over the shoulders, over the hips. There are no props necessary. All we need is you and your smile. Let's bring the hands through heart center. Connect the thumbs into the sternum. So often what we identify as our I or our I am statements, what we place value on, has been programmed into us. And so what our practice teaches us is that we are divine light, that we are part of divinity, that Purusha lies within each one of us. And it's the forgetting that we are that divine light that ends up showing up in our life as this lack mentality, or this I am not enough mentality, or that everybody else has got it figured out except for me mentality. And that's not the truth. So what we're here to do is uncover whatever it is that's lying on top of this divine light that you are. But first we have to recognize that we are that light. So we have to set our intention there, put our breath there, put our awareness there, so that we can really embody that light. So we came here as a physical body, and we get to guide ourselves through this life's journey. So part of what's helpful for me in confidence is establishing my voice. And singing is one of my favorite ways to do that. So we will begin today's practice with an Om. Om is universal consciousness, and we will align that with your individual consciousness. Inhale for Om. Big inhale through your nose, open your mouth. Here you are. Remove any props that you might be using, and we'll start today on our backs. Once you get down onto your back, we'll come into Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined bound angle pose. Soles of the feet together, knees out wide. And you'll hear that as we say the Sanskrit words for the postures, you'll hear at the end of every single one is asana. Asana is the physical practice. Bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your chest, and start to elongate your breathing. There's so much more to the practice than the asana. And I find that the other parts of the practice are really helpful in that self-confidence part, in that arena. Before yoga, I thought the core of me was kind of rotten. And so my actions and behaviors were always about pleasing others. And our practice reminds us, our yoga reminds us, our philosophy reminds us that the one we need to please is ourself. It's the big I, not the little I. And so as you lie here, I'd like you to come up with an I am statement that feels true for you. So letting go of the idea that you are your job, or you are your gender, or you are your relationship. What is something that is beyond all of that, that is eternal, that is everlasting? that is not dependent upon anything external. What we are diving into is the unchanging Purusha within. So it could be something like, I am light, I am divinity, I am love, I am bliss, I am freedom. And then seal that statement in with a smile. That's your affirmation for the class and maybe beyond the class. Remove the hands, circle out the wrists, open and close the fingers. And then just cross your right knee over to your left. Bring your arms out to a T or cactus arms into a spinal twist. You can take the gaze over the right shoulder. So our practice teaches us one-pointed focus. And it's this time where we remove all other distractions and we work on focusing on one thing. And the thing you're going to focus on today is that I am statement. So every time you notice that your mind's dialogue goes somewhere else, you bring it back to that I am statement. It doesn't matter if it's every 4 seconds. Keep bringing it back. Then let's shift the legs over towards the right and the gaze over to the left. Your commitment to this practice, your commitment to yourself will result in more ease, more peace, being comfortable in uncomfortable situations, right? Because there's an acceptance, a knowing of who it is that you really are, not dependent upon your car or your bank account. And then let's bring the knees back through center, extend the legs up, give them a good shake, give your arms a good shake. And we'll come all the way up to all fours. So you could do that with a little momentum by rocking the legs overhead or not. Remember, your practice is always up to you. You're in your body, you are the authority. So from all fours, we'll do a little cat-cow child's pose flow. So we'll inhale to cow by tipping the tail up, dropping the belly, lifting through the heart and chest, and then reaching the lower jaw over the upper jaw, and then pointing the tail down, rounding the spine, letting the chest fall, and then sending the hips back, child's pose. And then rolling forward, tipping the tail, dropping the belly, lifting up to cow, rounding into cat, pressing back into child's pose. One of my favorite cues is to add the sounds. So think about what a cow noise would be. Meow. Meow. And so oftentimes we can notice if we're taking ourselves or our practice way too serious, which adds a pressure, a weight, and all of that sits on top of the Purusha, the eternal light, the divinity that you are. And now we'll come back to a neutral spine. Step the left foot outside of the left hand and scooch this right knee back. So we're coming into a lizard pose. And then take time to maybe let the knee splay out to the side or find a twist or come onto the forearms, but just explore. So part of the philosophy is called the kleshas, and it talks about what causes our suffering. And part of our suffering is liking and disliking. So when we walk around all day liking things and disliking things, it controls our actions and our thoughts and our behaviors, and we miss out on the present moment. It's called raga and devesa. And so if we can free ourselves from that within the practice of I like this posture, I don't like this posture, I want to do this posture, I don't want to do this posture, we can then take that practice off of the mat and notice when we're being unkind or judgmental out in the world. Okay, now what we're going to do is heel toe this left foot into the midline, kickstand the right foot, Walk the left hand inside of the left foot and circle this right arm overhead. We're going to give 2 circles in one direction, 2 circles in the other direction, and then back to all fours, and we'll repeat that on the other side. Step the right foot outside of the right hand, lizard pose, right side. Tune into your breath. The breath is a great reminder to be present. And I like that reminder too of like, life wants all of us. It wants all of our attention. So when we notice ourselves fixated on the past or the future, what we have or what we don't have, life's not happy about that. And that adds to the feelings that we feel of heaviness or maybe insufficiency or not enoughness. And then we'll heel toe this right foot into the midline, kickstand the left foot, bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot, and circle the left arm around 2 times forward, 2 times back. Bring the left hand down, come to all fours once again. And then we'll make our way into our downward facing dog, our Adho Mukha Svanasana. And you can hear that asana once again. Tuck your toes, pike your hips up and back. So you're in this upside down V shape where we'll pedal out our feet. Maybe on the tops of the feet, so you stretch out the front of the feet and the ankles. And then tiptoe your feet up to the front of the mat. From there, roll yourself all the way up to stand, reach your arms up high, and then bring your hands through prayer. Make sure your feet are about 2 fists width distance apart, maybe rock back and forth, find the center. Stand nice and tall, lift through your crown. Press your feet down into the earth, engage your quads, engage your bum slightly. And we'll take this moment to talk about the warrior postures. And so the warrior postures came from a tragic love story. We won't go into the whole story, but we will understand that when we go into Warrior One, we are rising from the ashes. So think about Warrior One as this place where you get to rise from all of your difficulties, from all of your struggle, from all of your strife. So we're going to take ourselves into Warrior One now. Inhale to reach your arms up high. Exhale to fold. Step your left foot back in its own track, angle it out. So you're going to have to play with the angle of the foot, but we want a strong scissoring action of the legs. So you want to make sure that the knee is in line with the ankle so that the knee's not bowed in or caving in. Okay, now here's where we can see ourselves like, in our pain, in our hurt, in our heartache. And we rise, because each time we fall, we grow stronger. And that's what a warrior does. So a warrior rises up from their hurt and their pain. And that's what we can resemble each time we practice our Warrior One, our Virabhadrasana One. So reach your fingers up, slightly turn your pinkies in, draw your armpits down. Your hips are probably going to be off on a diagonal. You just want the action of the hips to be turning forward. And come back to your I am statement. and stand in that power. I am. We could end it there. I am, period, and that is enough. In Sanskrit, soham. Okay, now we're going to take it into Warrior 2. So now that we've risen from the ashes, we are going to draw our swords. So our swords will open up as the arms open up like arrows, and we'll heel toe the right foot forward. So ideally, there's heel to arch alignment. Might be different for you, but that's kind of a good way to start. And we want to then see that the right knee is over the ankle or not bowing or caving in. So that's where you might change the stance a little bit. Then level out the hips. So if I had headlights on my hip points, they'd be facing forward. Shoulders over hips. Then let's engage the back leg even more. The foot is turned slightly in. Right? So the energy of both my feet is kind of turning towards the right. I'm not actually moving my feet in space, but that's the energy. And then my arms lined up, and we can imagine that there's a sword in this front arm. And so we can think about whatever demons that we need to slay, whatever obstacles, whatever's standing in our way that is hiding or obstructing our divine light from shining. And so it might be something like our inability to speak up during a confrontation. Or whatever else is plaguing you. We take aim. We get clear about what's holding us back. And now for our Warrior 3, we're going to slice through it. So this part is the destroyer. So we're going to pivot on the ball mound of the left foot. You could bring the left hand behind the back. So this wouldn't be traditional, but it's helpful for this flow. And heel toe the right foot a little bit more over towards the right. So now our feet are once again in separate tracks. And I am ready to slice through whatever that thing is that I need to destroy in my life, or that I need to release or let go of or stop worrying about. And so from here, I'm going to lean forward. Now this is a perfectly legit variation of Warrior 3. My hips are level. I'm leaning forward and starting to transfer the weight onto the right foot. Then you might want to see about coming onto the tiptoes of the back foot and maybe lifting the back leg. Eventually, we're looking to have the hips level. If your left toes are turned out, they're probably not. So we want to have the hips level, toes turned down. Flexed foot can help keep strength in the upper lifted leg. Engage the quad, lift up through the hamstring. Alignment between head, heart, hips, and heel. And then traditionally, both arms are going forward. When I think about what I need to do in terms of feeling more confident and I'm working my warriors in this way, I keep just the right arm forward. In the story, we'd be slicing off King Daksha's head, who's the representation of the dark side of the ego. And then up to stand, step left foot to meet the right. Hands through heart center. And we'll take a moment to reset. Imagine yourself as the channel between heaven and earth, or the cosmos and earth. And all we're doing with our energy right now is purifying so that energy can move from the core of the earth through us all the way to the cosmos, and the cosmos back through us all the way into Mother Earth. Inhale to reach your arms up high. Exhale to fold. This time, step the right foot back in its own track. So come back to your I am statement, right? We're rising from the ashes in our Warrior 1. Energy of the hips turning forward. Embodying all of those fierce qualities that often are things like compassion and empathy and understanding. So when we embody those qualities, we remove reaction and replace it with response. Conscious response. That's how we be the warriors. Or warrioresses. All right, now we're going to open it up in Warrior 2. So remember, here's where we're kind of taking aim. So our hands and arms sail out. I've got to change my feet now, so I'm kind of looking for that heel to arch alignment to start. And then checking in to see if my knee is over the ankle. So when I look down, my knee's not caving in. And then leveling the hips, shoulders over hips. Strong arms. So not hiked up towards your ears, but relaxed back and down. And then we're taking aim with our gaze and our sword in our left hand. Maybe you even display that by taking your hand into a fist and turning the palm up. Yes, I can. Yes, you can. All right, now here we go. Here we go into slicing through whatever it is that is holding you back. So we pivot on the ball mound of the right foot. I'm heel toeing my foot in a bit, then pivoting, making sure my feet are on separate tracks. I'm gonna bring my right hand to my low back. I feel like that's helpful in keeping level hips, and then lean forward, right? It might be that you're just working right here. Up and down, up and down. One day you'll find balance. And that's why the practice is so helpful, because when we practice with consistency, we will see ourselves expand and grow in our postures. And in itself, that gives us a great sense of accomplishment and confidence. But it's returning over and over and over again and practicing even when we don't feel like it. So maybe we fly into our Warrior 3. Our commitment to our practice, to ourselves, to our life is everything. All right, now we step the right foot up to meet the left. Reach your hands up high, inhale. Exhale to fold forward. Plant the hands. Let's step back into a high plank position. So sometimes we can develop confidence by doing things we might think we can't do. That means we have to get out of our comfort zone. We have to do things that feel uncomfortable. We have to put ourselves in awkward situations. So we're going to feel that fire now in our high plank position. Engage your quads, lift through your hamstrings. Press through your heels, reach through the crown of your head. Breathe steady. Right, and if you need to drop your knees, drop your knees. But what I'd like you to try is when you think you need to, stay 4 seconds longer. When we accomplish hard things, when we do the things we think we can't do, we earn a sense of knowing that we are sovereign, that we are capable, and that we can survive. Let's hold for another 10 seconds. Push the floor away from you. Engage your core. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Another 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work. Drop your knees. Lower your heart and chest. Take your hands out wide, tent the fingers. Press through the tops of the feet and the pubic bone. Find a lift, and then dip each shoulder down into the midline. Come back to your I am statement. Use this statement. Look in the mirror. Look into your own eyes. Say it over and over and over again, even if you don't believe it at first. Good. Then let's release. Take the hands, clasp them behind you. Notice what thumb you put on top. Put the opposite one on top. And we can notice things like that in our life as well. What do we do on autopilot? What do we do without presence? And then we bring our presence to it. We bring our life to it. We bring our aliveness to it. Now let's find a lift from the middle back. So think of your middle back lifting. Then lift the held hands. Keep the back of your neck long. Keep pressing through the tops of your feet. Now lift your left foot. Lower it. Lift your right foot. Lower it. Left. Right. Left. Right. Lower down. One more time. Let's find a lift. Lift your held hands away from the back. This time we lift both legs. Press the feet back. Press the crown forward. Hold. And lower down. Now we'll just go a little side to side. So extend the left arm and then roll over towards your left. Step the right foot behind you. And then we'll do that on the other side, back and forth. The right arm will extend, left hand comes in towards the chest. Step the left foot behind you, side to side. Good, and then we're gonna roll all the way over onto our backs. Hug the knees into your chest, give yourself a nice big squeeze. And then we will extend the body out long for our Shavasana, our corpse pose, our metaphorical death. Legs about mats with distance, feet splayed out to the side, arms 6 inches off the body, palms face up. Come back to your I am statement. Remember that your soul is pure innocence. So all of these cues that might feel cheesy or sound cheesy, the cheesier, the better. That's what your soul hears. That's what it responds to. And when we ignore our soul, that's when we lose our confidence. That's when we forget who we are. We can't remember why we're here. And so our practice unveils all of that. And our Shavasana, with each breath we get to release any habit or way of being that is unnecessary, that's not serving us, that's covering up our light. We choose our beliefs. We don't have to believe what our mom and dads or our grandparents believed. We don't have to follow the script that life has given us. We get to listen to the script that's in our heart, but the key is to listen, to remember. And now let's bring the hands over the heart. Say that statement to yourself one more time. I am. And we'll make our way back up to sit to close out the practice. You are a warrior. You always have been and you always will be. It's just a matter of showing up for it. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Remember to like this video, to subscribe so that you can practice yoga with me more often. My partner and I are building a retreat center on Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, and I'd love to keep you updated. I'd love to be a sangha, a spiritual community for you to really grow and expand and to commit to your yoga as a way of life. Always a blessing, honor, and privilege. My heart sees and feels and smiles to yours. Namaste, yogis.